Hello everyone, welcome to episode 25 of Show Fevers. Today we'll be going over the July 26th issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. So this week, I read Underdoctor, Cannon Master, Hall Formula, and Hunter x Hunter. So to start off, Underdoctor, it's still not building into a main story. It's making me so mad. So we see as this chapter, ultimately Chiwa, Shuli, and Haji are off on a dinner because of Shuli saving Haji. We see as they're having dinner, and then they leave. Ultimately, there's then a big explosion in this Chinese restaurant. We then see as Haji ends up going up there and demonstrating his skills as he's able to triage, which is essentially label people in moments of crisis to determine how much medical necessity they have. Yeah, so we see as he does this really fast. Then we ultimately then see as he ends up going to the hospital as well. We see as this one doctor's like, there's this one person, he should have been labeled this way. And Haji's like, no, in fact, I saw with my own eyes he should have been labeled this way. And we see he's going to confirm a little bit more, but then we see as this old head hospital director who knows Haji is like, no, I know this guy, he knows his stuff. But yeah, so after that kind of recognition of skill, the chapter ends. And like I said, it's just, we're not getting a main story, really. We're getting little side clips here and there. Like, this story will probably be over next chapter. Like, I'm not enjoying this. I want to get back to, like, the Maximilian Carter stuff, like, that level of storytelling. But we're just getting kind of bland stuff right now. And if it doesn't pick up, I'd say within the next 5-10 chapters, I might drop Underdoctor, because it makes me mad because other stories deserve to continue a lot more. Like, I personally think Alien Headbutt is a lot better than Underdoctor has been in its entirety, but we just continue to read Underdoctor. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, so then for Hall Formula, we get to see as Miharu gets to complete his qualifying round at Oida, or Autopolis. And so we see then as he ends up facing in this chapter the most difficult of the turns, which is essentially like a full-on slope, and they have to hit a turn crazy style. And he ends up taking it very well. He's able to do this masterfully, and we see as Ryogoku is like, whoa, this is actually sick. He's going very well. And then we get to see as we get introduced to another character who is a prodigy, 16-year-old by the name of Shiromiya. And we just see as they kind of have a brief conversation with Kyogoku, and Goku explains that he wasn't willing to mentor them because he was nothing like them. But we see that Kyogoku is very similar to Miharu, and we see also as he comments on that. So with Miharu doing this, he, I believe, was stated to have 1 second faster than the previous, qualifying first place member who had been at Oida, I guess. But yeah, so we're just going to get all this information about the Oida, and we also get to see next chapter as we go into the actual Oida race, presumably. But yeah, so then for Cannon Master this week, we kind of see the end of the Ruga versus Baharat fight, and we get to see as Ruga ultimately ends up recognizing Baharat as a competent fighter. And we also see as Ryo end up coming in and revealing to Baharat that, Ruga is my student. And we see how they end up giving their history and how Roga and Baharat knew each other, not Roga, but Ryo and Baharat knew each other even before the war, and how they had a bunch of sparring matches in their time, and how Ryo had 132 wins and how Baharat had 131. So we get to see that Baharat is a very competent fighter who doesn't really just display himself that much. But yeah, so after this, we kind of see as the, progression of the mission continues, we also see as Roga is asked to stay on the team because Baharat's like, I need competent fighters like you, so he ends up getting tailed in as well. And we also then see oh my gosh, I gotta quit saying that, as is allowed on the team as well. So then what happens is, we get to see as, guys, I'm trying to cut myself from saying it, but then after that, they end up going on the mission, and we see as they end up revealing that a minister of the main kingdom that they're in has been captured. And I believe the city that they're in specifically is called, it's like Bajrit or something like that. It's been a moment since I read the chapter a couple hours ago, so I don't remember the specific name of the city, but it doesn't seem to be super important at the moment. But yeah, so we see that a minister was captured, and so the main goal is to protect the ransom citizens while also protecting the minister. And we then see as they get there and the citizens are being allowed out, and this is because the minister ended up revealing themselves to the Regolith, and it's Damon, obviously, not Damon, but Demon. I've got Damon's on the Shadow Realm on the mind. But yeah, He ends up revealing this, so the demon then ends up taking him singularly hostage, and we then get to kind of see this new, presumably new arc starts off with us preparing to retake the Minister. But then for Hunter x Hunter, this chapter had a lot of dialogue for nothing really much to have happened. We just see as Furikov calls Beyond, kind of discussing about his curse. This is like a while back, but he ends up calling him, discussing his curse and all that about who he's cursed and his abilities and stuff like that. We also get to see as martial law is completely declared and everything kind of starts to shut down. We see as the princes are being, I guess, pushed toward room 1001, and I believe we specifically see Tubepa, I believe the fifth prince, and we can see how they interact with this occurrence and all that, because Benjamin's people tried to take their scientists, but they're like, no, we need these scientists for like specific research whenever we get to the Dark Continent. But yeah, so then after that, we see as Kurapika and Oito, who is Wobble's mother, are discussing about how they're going to get mail to the mainland, and we see how ultimately Oito ends up coming with the idea, yeah, we're going to put code on it, or we're going to do it in code. And Kurapika is still kind of debating the, I guess, nature of how this should be sent and how it should all work out, because it's going to be very confusing either way, even if they do use code or they don't. And we then see as they go to prepare and mail it all and all of that, because they need to figure out like where Wobble is. They need to get Gon and Killua also in tow with their plans. But yeah. So then we see as they go to deliver it, and it's ultimately revealed that the military is no longer specifically overseeing the transportation of these letters, and they can give it directly to a dealer or whatever it was called. And so that's kind of where the chapter ends, and I'm really ready to see where we go next chapter, because I don't know exactly, but I am ready to see how this new establishment of martial law will go, because it has officially been declared now, rather than us getting like it's flashbacks to moments before and stuff like that, like we did with the last chapter. So I'm really excited to see how this will go and where it will go and who will die, because someone's inevitably going to have to die from this calling of martial law. But that's all it really was for the July 26th issue of Weekly Shonen Jump, and that's all I really have for episode 25 of Shonen Shorts. So thank you very much for watching.